Hello and welcome to Learn and Love Music. Over the next 2 weeks, we're going to look at two beautiful pieces by the French composer Claude Debussy. First, we're going to start with his first arabesque, which was written in 1888, a very early work of Debussy, and a lot of young students play this piece. I played it when I was probably about 11 or 12 years old. I love the piece. It's beautiful, and it shows sort of what Debussy did in the early part of his life with Impressionism. I'm going to point out some of the characteristics of early Debussy this week with the arabesque, and next week we're going to look at one of his very late works, an Étude from 1917. The same composer, but a much different approach to harmony, much more sophistication. This week with the arabesque in E major, it's more about simplicity and beauty, and of course, Impressionism. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Learn and Love Music. Point number one, it's pentatonic. What pentatonic means is that this composer, at least in the beginning, Debussy uses only 5 notes in a melody. One of the ways I describe pentatonic music to students is to point out, what if you just played a melody using the 5 black keys? So if I did this, Auld Lang Syne, that's all on black keys. Or you could do, that's another one, Dvorak's Humoresque. Many pieces have that kind of sound to them. Debussy chooses to use the key of E major in pentatonism, so we have five notes, including the octaves above. So if you took those notes and you sort of mix them up a little bit, you'd get this. And he uses this theme. In a way, it sounds almost like wind chimes, you know. So if we put that, add a little left hand to it. Beautiful, and it is sort of one of the most important elements of Impressionistic music. Point number 2, he uses parallelism. And parallelism is just playing chords in a sort of a parallel manner. If I took a chord, this is a 6th chord, if we did this, he uses in that passage 11 chords going up, and then he makes it into almost like an arpeggio going up. Gives this impression of just sort of rising up into the sky, maybe rising up to heaven. It's a marvelous effect that Debussy uses. He uses this in a couple places in the piece. He also uses it later on at the very end as well. Point number 3, he uses the key of C major for only 3 or 4 measures in this piece. But it's quite startling because the whole piece is in this beautiful E major kind of sound, almost like a harp-like sound. In a passage on the last page, he writes risoluto, with resolve, playing in a completely different key of C major. All white keys, we hear this. Then it sort of melts away, and then a G sharp appears, and then suddenly we're back at the beginning. It's sort of an odd passage that he uses such a bold, different color with that C major passage. Only 4 measures in the piece have that. And number 4 is going to be using rubato. Rubato is when you kind of steal time and make the music have a little bit more elasticity to it. And he uses this in the middle section of the piece where he writes tempo rubato un peu moins vite, a little less slowly. So very free and kind of using the same themes he used before in but in a much more luxurious and slow. Rich chords. And he writes the word mosso, which means a little more motion. Now the seventh chords. Didn't quite make it through. Let's try again. Another try at this jump. Quiet musing. Seventh chords. I love this section because it has a lot more flexibility in tempo with the tempo rubato and provides a center section that gives some contrast to the outside sections. And the last thing I'm going to point out is how Debussy ends the piece. It's kind of a putting all together all these different ideas and then wrapping it all up with a recapitulation of the opening theme, which is this. But he makes it into a melody on the top. And a new melody. Going downhill, going down. And then like harp-like sounds. Harp-like sounds are used a lot in Impressionistic music, of course using that idea of that pentatonic scale. So here's the pentatonic scale near the end. And G sharp minor, dominant 7. And just like the beginning, those nice chimes. Now we'll go up. Pentatonic, rising up. A lovely ending, isn't it? And now let's listen to Debussy's first arabesque. Before I do that, I want to encourage all of you to subscribe to our channel because we want you to come back again. And especially since next week we're going to be doing some Debussy written at the end of his life. Some really fantastic, brilliant piece. It's an Étude by Debussy called Arpèges Composés. So I want to see you back for that episode as well. For now, though, let's enjoy Arabesque number 1.